surrounds me, from my family to our small group to the congregation and staff at Living Hope. They all pointed me to Jesus throughout 2018. They let me see Jesus through them in the midst of everything that was happening. I'd like to share with you where I saw Jesus in 2018. In June of 2018, the Board of Optometry brought an accusation against my husband, Paul, for failure to complete his continuing education. This brought my world to a stop. All I could do was blame myself over and over because it was a result of my mistake, as I kept all of his continuing education records. But instead of getting angry, Paul showed me Jesus. He covered my mistake in love. There was no blame, no reminding me of the mistake I made. Instead, he continued to tell me to trust in God, as he believed that God would carry us through this ordeal. When I told my oldest son, Adam, what was going on with the board, I also saw the love of Jesus. The first thing he asked was whether his little brother and sister would be okay if the board ended up giving the highest level of discipline. His concern was not for himself, but for Abby and Joey. When Paul emailed the men of our Bible study about what was going on, I again saw the love of Jesus. Several families in our Bible study group had just touched down in Hawaii for their vacation when they read the email. Clem immediately called us from the airport to offer his concern and support. Throughout all of this, I learned that God is good. We even received affirmation from God during this time through the reference letters that many at Living Hope wrote for Paul. These letters brought tears to my eyes as God affirmed Paul's heart for missions. In September of 2018, I saw Jesus in the love that Nancy has for her father-in-law. I had given her the book, Imagine Heaven, to give her some comfort during her father-in-law's battle with cancer. After he passed, Nancy texted me and said, "I just finished the book on Sunday before he passed away. I was the only one there when he took his last breath. I'm still emotional as the images are still there of him taking his last breath, but the book gave me so much comfort knowing where he is now. After I read this, I just kept thinking, what a lucky dad to have such a loving daughter-in-law. Thank you, Nancy, for showing me Jesus." In 2008, 4 of us decided to go on the mission trip to Guatemala. From beginning to end, this trip showed me Jesus. I saw Jesus' obedience in Michelle, Linda, and Gina when they obeyed God's prompting to go to Guatemala. I experienced Jesus' care for us through Alejandra when she got us together to make her homemade empanadas to help pay for the mission trip. I also saw Jesus when he changed my relationship with Linda. She and I are so different that she even told me at the end of the trip that she wasn't sure how we'd get along. But after the trip, Linda and I grew closer together. Not because we changed. Believe me, it would take me forever to change. Ask my husband. But God was able to show us a different side of each other that created a bond. God was able to bring glory to himself through our relationship. I didn't know it at the time, but the deeper friendship he created amongst the 4 of us in Guatemala is what we would need in the days to come. In November 2018, we received the devastating news from Gina that her son Jonathan had cancer. But God is good. He knew this was coming. This was the reason God prompted us to go to Guatemala. God formed a bond between the 4 of us and in turn in our small group, which helped Gina to see Jesus during this time of great worry and despair. Alejandra and I even asked Gina to allow our group to let God love her through us. It wasn't us loving her, it was God. It was God carrying her through this. God loved her through us, from delivering food to praying together at morning prayer, to texts of support ranging from Bible verses to sermons, to pictures of rainbows and sunrises. I also saw Jesus in Gina's love for her kids as she cried behind closed doors so that her children wouldn't see her because she wanted to be strong for them. I saw Jesus in Jonathan's youth group friends when they filled his house with fun and laughter. Thank you, Gina, Chris, Jonathan, and Ethan, for allowing God to love you through us. Thank you, Living Hope, for helping me see and experience Jesus in such a real way in 2018. It has led me to a greater knowledge, love, and trust in Jesus. My prayer for you is that this community of believers would do the same for you, that this community of believers, that through this community of believers, you would allow God to show his love for you. Living hope, may you see Jesus in 2019.